going on, everyone? This is a Popcorn Heroes review of Clone Wars Season 7, the final season. How it ends on Disney Plus, not Cartoon Network. Disney Plus.
Or Netflix, because Netflix was the season before.
Yeah, or Netflix. I am Armando. With me, as always, is Pedro.
Hello.
What's going on? So, we're going to talk about the final season of Star Wars: The Clone Wars, the animated series that started, I think, 2008? Right?
Shit.
Something like that?
Something like that. I would have to look it up, but yeah.
Look that up and correct me if I'm wrong. And Disney was kind enough to give us a final season that just ended.
Yep. Oh wait, you were correct. 2008.
Damn. So they were kind enough to give us a final season for the Disney Plus service that they created, as you obviously know. And essentially it gave us the completed editions of some episodes they had already done.
Yes.
Some lost episodes they had. Was the second storyline also a lost episode?
They were all lost episodes. The only one that they were able to do as animatics were the ones that we had seen when the show was canceled back in 13, I believe.
Yeah.
2013. Yeah. But yes, they were all written. At least a little bit. So,
but that's what I'm asking. Like the second season, was that part of the animated? The second storyline, was that arc also part of the animatrix? I mean, whatever it's called. We saw
the animatics. No, it was written, but it wasn't actually animated.
It looked so familiar to me. Like I've seen it before.
I don't know. It was definitely
the whole time I was watching, it felt familiar.
No, I mean, just the look of it felt very Blade Runner. The second story arc.
Not necessarily that. It's just, it felt like I saw it before. Like it felt very familiar.
Maybe the trailers. Maybe you watched a lot of trailers because you were hyped for it.
No, I didn't see anything.
What? You went in it dark? You went blind?
Oh yeah, of course. When it's something I want to watch, I go dark. Anyways, we saw the first 4 episodes. I know that for a fact. We saw the first 4 episodes.
We definitely did.
But I felt like I saw the other episodes too.
Maybe it's some crazy
maybe
deja
like
vu.
The first one or first 2. I know, some shit like that.
Those are brand spanking new. So this season was broken up into 3 story arcs. The first story arc was the one that we loved, that we saw in the animatic
Bad Batch,
form.
baby.
The Bad Batch, which is pretty much a like the Dirty Dozen, Magnificent 7 type thing, where it's just these badass, fucking crazy, eccentric clones that were
the deformed clones, right? Essentially,
they're deformed, but with I forgot what they said. Deformed with like desirable qualities. That's what they kept saying.
Yeah.
So like, oh, it's a deformed clone, but he looks like Arnold, like he's fucking massive. It's like, cool, Bad Batch it is, because you're huge. Or one has like better eyesight, faster reflexes. They're the sniper, and and so on. Smarter, because one had a slightly bigger head. He was the smarter guy, so he was the techie. Yeah. And then you had the one that had a really strong sense of smell. He was like the tracker, and that was the one that looked like Rambo.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I loved it because you and I watched it when it was like in really shitty shape, where they were just moving shapes around, the mouths weren't moving, the explosions weren't really happening. It was a lot of like weird shit. So we now actually seeing it with the budget that it deserved. It's great, man.
It was amazing.
I really liked that story arc because it showed that it brought back Echo for starters.
Yeah,
which is one of the rookies that we followed way back in the first season. So it gave his storyline a closure, and it showed that they need people that think differently. For like they need the weirdos for strategies and stuff. So I just love the whole idea of that Bad Batch thing. It just reminded me of like an 80s action movie too.
Yeah. I mean, I loved it because we saw it through the like you said, the terrible shape it was before it gets animated. So I just like seeing that come back to life again. The story was great. and it looked even better seeing it actually played out, through that through its actual form. And it's just interesting how that clone was essentially giving them strategies how to defeat, the Republic. And that was pretty cool to see how somebody could get used and manipulated in that world, for that.
And it made sense too, because Echo is one of the ARC troopers, so they're the best of the best. So just plug into their head, get all their stuff. One of the things I really liked about this story arc was that you got to see the clash between the Bad Batch and Rex and Cody, who are the more like proper, perfect soldiers. Yeah. And with, the undesirable or the weirdos. So it was just a really cool dynamic. And of course it further gave more character development to just the clones as a whole, that each of them are their own person. I mean, I know we've been seeing that for all the other previous seasons, but it just adds more to it. It's just nice to see. Because if there's anything that has been the keep away, the main thing to keep from the Clone Wars, it's always been three main things. It's been Ahsoka, it's been Rex and the clones, and it's been Darth Maul. Those are the main three things about this season, which is why I like that this final season focused on them three. Yeah. More than anyone else. We already know where everyone else's story is going to be. Yeah. But we wanted to see their parts. So
yeah, and that leads into the second story of Ahsoka and her little adventure with these people, which I didn't really care for that much. I wouldn't say it was bad. I just didn't really care for it. I think it was just like a holdover for the actual, the last story arc. It was just a filler to get to that story arc.
My complaint with it was that I think it was too long. I liked it. I think it was needed because you never saw. By the time you see Ahsoka in Rebels, she's already fully aware of the bad things that the Jedi did, or the bad things about the Republic. Like, she was very she wasn't naive anymore. She was just like, oh, okay, it wasn't perfect. She had that mentality, but you didn't really see where that snapped. And then this is the story arc where you see it when she's living in the slums with the poor, the ones that don't get the same treatment or whatever. That's where she starts seeing, like, wait a minute, why didn't the Jedi save these people? Why don't we help them? We're supposed to help people, and look at these people, they're living like shit. And one of the very first missions that I had was the ship that crashed and killed these people's parents, or mother. I think it was just the mother, actually.
Yeah, the mom.
The ones I just met. So it just shows that it's like, wow, all the stuff that we've been affecting in the bad way, I've never seen that before. So that revelation had to happen for Ahsoka to become who she is. It was needed. It's just that there was a lot of back and forth. Like, there was a whole part where they escaped and then they got caught again to then escape again. It's like that was filler. So the middle episode should have been cut out. It should have been the first episode and the third one of that arc. And I would have enjoyed it more. And then save up an extra episode for something else.
And you're absolutely right.
Yeah. I don't think it was a bad arc. It's just too long. One episode too long.
You kind of essentially described what I liked and didn't like about it. It was too long. I was not enjoying how long it was, and I didn't really like the other characters that she was playing with. They were irrelevant, but that's how some of the characters are in the Clone Wars, because a lot of characters come and go. So a lot of them are irrelevant. Whoever the Jedi meet, whoever they run into, but I wasn't really feeling her companions in this time around. And I think it, again, like I said, it just led, like you said, to her realization to become who she's supposed to be, and to her be in that world to meet the Mandalorians that needed help. Yeah, and that directly leads into the last four. Which were by far the best Clone Wars I have ever seen. And on top of that, Dave Filoni does it again. And it just it highlights for me how Dave Filoni understands Star Wars, understands the world. These are new episodes. Those last four are literally new episodes they made. because everything about the entire 4 episodes were new. Nothing was used. So he understands Star Wars, dude. He understands that world, the universe, the characters, what makes Star Wars special. And what I love about him so much is that he just loves the world, and it never feels like there's a quote unquote agenda. Like everybody likes to think that there's always an agenda on these things, right? Mm-hmm. He doesn't have that. He presents everybody how they are, and it doesn't matter to him if there's a girl, if there's a guy, if this and that, and none of that shit matters to him. What matters to him is that story that he presents, and this is that perfect example of just presenting the story. Nobody was weak. Nobody was bigger than anybody else. Everybody was played to their strengths, and he does that a lot. And you see that throughout the entire series of Clone Wars. He made characters better. And we've always say Anakin, if it wasn't for the Clone Wars, the prequel would have been shit. So...
Yep. And I stand by that, because I just watched, in preparation for this, I watched the prequel movies again, and I just went, you know what? Nah, man, these aren't that great. But watching all of Clone Wars, seeing that journey of Anakin, you get to see it. I'm just like, wow. You see the bromance between him and Obi-Wan. You see the rise of him teaching Ahsoka. All of that just made all these characters just so fucking likable. It's just like, this is amazing.
Yeah, and he just makes the world better, the way, like that whole time period, he just makes it better. And I really hope that Disney gives him Kevin Feige control of Star Wars, but not in the business aspect, but in story control, because Kevin Feige, he's in charge of story and business. I don't think Dave Filoni can do business, but he is, man, so good at story, and he hasn't let me down in anything he's done. Maybe the newest animation, because
he didn't do the newest one.
No wonder, dude. No wonder, because I've seen like 10 episodes of it, and I'm just like, man, this thing, it's not very good. And it starts off super kiddie, but it stays there and never goes away. And what I've always loved about Clone Wars and Rebels is that it always starts off super kiddie, and then somewhere between halfway or the end, it just the switch flips, and it just becomes, it becomes more than that. Everything becomes more real in a sense.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it where it was, but I remember saying that he did create the idea of it, but as far as writing it, no. He oversaw the show, but he didn't really write anything in it.
Okay.
When you look at Rebels and Clone Wars, he had his hand in it. And this one he didn't. He was hands off. He was just like, yeah, just make it feel like Star Wars and we're good,
So, because he was probably too busy doing The Mandalorian and all that crap that was taking up his time. The funny thing about Rebels, I mean, the newest one, I think it's called Resistance.
It is Resistance, and you know what? I'm looking at all the writers and directors. Not a single one is Dave Filoni. Not one. All the episodes. So his name is on it, yes, technically, because he created the full show.
So he's like a producer then.
Yeah, it's kind of like how Jon Favreau's name is all over Mandalorian, but then when you look at the writers and directors, he's not in all of them.
No, but he was a showrunner though.
Yes. Okay, so yeah, there it is. Dave Filoni is technically the showrunner, but he didn't.
But not technically either, because showrunners have a big hand in the show.
That's true. That is true.
So he's partly just like a boss, and like the showrunner kind of tells him stuff, but the showrunner does their own thing. Something like that.
Okay, so this is what he did. He wrote the story for the pilot. Story by Dave Filoni. That's it. That's the only thing he wrote.
Wow.
The pilot. Nothing else is him. And I haven't seen that show yet, but I will get to it. But I have heard it's kind of like...
I don't like it. I've watched enough to be like, this is not good. Because all the other ones at least have sucked me in at some point. But I've been, 10, 12 episodes in, and I'm not convinced. I'm just like, I can't do this anymore.
It's 40 episodes, so you're almost at the halfway point.
So yeah, I can't do it. I can't do it, dude. I can't do it anymore. But yeah, this final arc is... It encapsulates everything that makes Dave Filoni special when it comes to the world of Star Wars, and the fact that it's his character. He created Ahsoka, and he sent her off. I mean, it's not really a send off because you kind of see her later on, but
yeah, but it definitely is a send off as far as Clone Wars is involved.
Yeah, and it was just perfect, man. I have no complaints, to be honest with you, about these final episodes.
I knew it was going to be something totally different when I saw the way it started.
Yeah.
It has the red font, says a long time ago in the galaxy far, far away. Like, it gave it an actual Star Wars intro, and I'm like, ooh. And the music, dude,
Everything.
was
somber.
Was like, yeah. It was sinister. It was like that ooh of the dark side. You know, they constantly has like that little ooh in the background. Every time, it's pretty much that rumbling every time Darth Sidious is in a scene. Yeah. That's what you were hearing the whole time. You know, it's just great, dude. It outshined in everything. It brought you Mandalorians. It brought you Darth Maul. And there was something that's been referenced in The Mandalorian. It was referenced in Rebels. Was this battle, and you got to actually see it. And then you got to see that Rex was part of it. Ahsoka's part of it. Satine's sister, I forgot her name right now, Bo, I think. And then I forgot this guy's name, Saxon, that was one of the villains in Rebels. He was a part of it too. And it's just great. And it also was really cool because you got to see Maul's motivation here.
Yeah.
Because he's always been the tragic character of the entire series. The guy just literally gets fucked over and used constantly. So, yeah, he's the villain. Yeah, he's bloodthirsty and kills whatever. But there's still a certain, like, tragic part to him where you're just kind of like, man, this guy always gets fucked over. Like, no matter what he does, you know? Oh, me and my brother are going to go and kill Dooku. Nope, you're dead because Sidious came and got you.
Yeah.
And then this one. And this one was that he was trying to set up... He pretty much set up this entire Mandalorian war just to lure Obi-Wan and Anakin here. So that him and Obi-Wan can team up and kill Anakin. That's fucking crazy. And that was his whole plan. Because he knew that Anakin was the one that was being bred for the new
the new apprentice.
Yeah, the apprenticeship. And I just like that you can see where he's like, oh, the time is almost upon us. And you're just like, oh shit, dude. Order 66 is around the corner. And yeah, I just love this whole thing. And then there you get to see the last time Ahsoka sees Anakin, which is when they have to go and save the Chancellor, which is directly into episode 3. So that's just perfect. You completely you put us on track with the movies, which is also great because we always wondered where the fuck was Ahsoka during all of this? Where was she during Order 66? And you got to actually see all of that. And then you add
this a whole... It blends perfectly with episode 3.
Mm-hmm. And then you get to see what's the word? It cements their relationship, Anakin and Ahsoka, because this is when Anakin gives her lightsabers, like totally new lightsabers to show that, you know, that she's like a daughter to him. And then Rex, who's like a ride or die with her, he actually finds a loophole to get her on the mission. And then the entire squad spray paints their face to look just like her. So it's just like you get to see that everyone's a family, which is what makes it even more tragic with what happens next. But it was just so good to touching. Have that build up. You're just like, wow, all these 7 seasons, everyone built a camaraderie. You see it all here, and then you get to see it all just fucking collapse.
Yeah,
and it's just perfect because that's exactly what this era is. This is the era, the rise of the Empire. So it was just so cool to see this and so many different things going on.
It was so touching, man, seeing all that come together and seeing how they cared about each other and seeing that downfall and seeing how they pretty much all died, and it's just it adds more weight to where you already know how it all ends, you know, how it all ends up happening, because you already know where it all leads, but just seeing how every character gets impacted by all this it's so heavy, you know, and it adds so much weight to it. It adds more.
And well, before I jump to that episode, let me jump to the one after. So we finally get a great fight scene between Maul and Ahsoka.
Yeah.
And I'm watching it, right? I'm watching it, I'm like, yo, this looks so fucking good. Even before the fight, where like the glass explodes and you see the embers, and I'm like, oh, this is some
animated
epic,
really well.
this is some epic shit going on here. And I was like, this is where all their fucking budget went to. It's amazing. If they would have thrown this amount of budget into every episode in the show, obviously that would have been impossibly expensive, but just imagine, it's like this show would have been on a whole other level. But obviously they couldn't, but they did it on the last 4 episodes, which I'm cool with. But that fight scene looks so fluid. I was like, yo, this fight scene looks really fucking good. It's not jumpy.
Yeah.
Or fast like all the others. And then of course we saw it was mocapped by fucking Ray Park of all people. So you have Sam Witwer reprising his role as the voice.
So good, man.
And then you got Ray Park revisiting the role as the mocap for
exactly what they did for Solo.
Yep, because he did the live action body essentially, while Witwer did the live action voice. Also great, but yeah, man. When I saw that, I was like, holy shit, this is really fucking good. That fight was amazing. And then of course she captures him, and that's where it goes to the next episode, which to me was fucking amazing, probably one of the best ones too. And it's where you actually see Order 66 happen, and I was so excited to see where she was during all of that, or how Rex played a part in it. And I loved it because it also made Five's journey worth something. Yeah, because even his story arc in previous seasons was to kind of show that the clones weren't in control. Yeah, he was the one that brought up the whole brainwashing thing. But right when he was about to figure out how to, warn everyone, that's when he dies, obviously. So you're just like, oh, it's cool that the audience knows, but now it's kind of for nothing. But here, his revelation is what helps Ahsoka save Rex. Yeah. So it showed that journey was for something. He ended up saving Rex because of all of that. So that was just nice, like looking back at it, like, oh, okay, it was all worth it. I love the scene where Rex gets the order and you actually see him hesitating.
Yeah, he was shaking.
He was shaking. He's holding it. He's like, ah! And he held it off for probably a few seconds, and that's it. And then he went full-blown killer mode. Yeah. And that was such a good scene, man.
It was a very emotional scene because her... Like you said, that family relationship they had together, and it's just like a family member's turning on you and they want to kill you, and like that was so crazy. That was so powerful seeing that happen, and it was just it was very like, oh man, it was very touching and heartbreaking at the same time, Yeah, it was deep, and I really love how Maul throughout this whole time was piecing everything together. Yeah, I love how he was like, man, this guy, I didn't know anything, and this guy had everything. He just, I love that, how he was so surprised and like man, astounded of how far Palpatine did everything.
It was like in awe. It was like, man, that son of a bitch. Yeah, he fucking did it.
Yeah, he played both sides and he played it perfectly. He literally made each other. He made the downfall of everybody.
Yeah, it was like clearly he wanted to kill Sidious, and hated him with everything in his body. But at the same time, he was like, man, look what he fucking did. He played every single person, everything. Yeah. Created an army just to have it turned against him. It was like poetic.
It was super poetic.
I did like that.
And but now what I'm really curious about is how does he take full control of the underworld?
Okay,
because he had it. Because he had it here.
He still had it. So
okay.
That was one of the things that was cool. So when right before he fights Ahsoka, he was talking with the Pikes. He talked with the Black Sun, and then he talked with Dryden Voss, which is the villain in Solo.
It was him, right?
Yep. Yeah. So it was there, and then he signs off, and then one of the Mandalorians said, Maul is having all the underworld people go into hiding until they can resurface again. So he never lost power. He just told them, hey, I'll be right back. Let me finish this Mandalorian bullshit first, which we all knew the Mandalorian stuff wasn't part of the crime syndicate. This was just him to lure these fuckers. So you assume that after this, he gets on his ship and he continues being a crime lord like nothing. And then he just renames it Crimson Dawn. Actually, no, it was Crimson Dawn by this point already.
Yeah.
The Pikes had mentioned that. In the Ahsoka story arc with the sisters, they mentioned it was Crimson Dawn. Which, going back to that a little bit, they end up going to the spice mine of Kessel, and then they go through the thing, which is all Solo references. So it was just nice that they're bridging the gap, you know? So it does bridge the gap nicely between that and Solo. The thing that we don't know now is how did he get from Solo to Rebels?
Oh, yeah, you're right. How did he lose his power, essentially?
How did he lose his power? Obviously, they were planning something with Kira and all that shit in Solo, but that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's the big question of how he lost his power.
Damn, can you imagine if that could be another animated series? Just bring back all the voice actors and call it a day?
I don't think they'll do an animated series. I feel that they will most likely go for a series, like a
Disney Plus show like Mandalorian.
Yeah. I feel like first they want to get it out of the way of like the Cassian Andor show. They want to do Obi-Wan, finish Mandalorian and all that stuff. I think they want to get those out of the way before they even try to attempt to do that. Because essentially you could bring back Emilia Clarke. You could get her back. Yeah. And you could definitely get back the guy who played Han Solo. You could definitely get him back. So, and then of course you have Ray Park and Sam Witwer, which I'm pretty sure they'll definitely do it. So the thing is just, when do you do it? When do you bring it back? When do you put these pieces back together again? You know, to show the downfall of Darth Maul to where he gets to that point in Rebels, because that's a big question now. Like, how did he lose it all, and how did he end up in that planet of all planets?
Yep. Well, he went there because he was looking for the power, which ended up being like a pyramid Death Star. That's what that reveal was. So he was there for that reason, but obviously we don't know why, how he got there, why was he so weak and fucked up, all kinds of shit. There's so many questions.
Why he never left.
Which these Solo movies are supposed to be a trilogy, and it was supposed to explain it, but hey, it happens. Yeah. So I'm sure we'll get that some way or another through comic, novel, or even a Disney Plus show.
I wouldn't want it to be a comic because Darth Maul's story, I feel it's too big to do that with. I think he deserves, a proper series to show his full circle, his full tragedy, essentially.
Yeah.
But bringing it back to the show, so we left off here at Order 66, how Rex was able to come back, essentially, because of Fives. And that was pretty cool, him being reunited again. And be like, yo, I'm sorry, I couldn't control any of this. And then the fights they had trying to get out of the ship, and I love how at one point he was like, oh man, they locked down everything. If they weren't trying to kill us, I'll be so proud of them.
Yeah. I did like how they showed that even then Ahsoka's like, we can't kill them.
Yeah.
Set them to stun. And then that was another one of my favorite Rex scenes, where he puts the helmet back on, and then he's like, no, we gotta kill them. It's either them or us. They're not gonna show us the same thing. And that's when Ahsoka pops the helmet back off, and you see he's crying. I was like, oh shit. He's gotta kill his boys, man.
Yeah.
So many.
And they ended up all
man.
dying anyways.
Which further added to the tragedy, because she tried so hard to save everyone, and it's just like, fuck, man. This whole situation, like, you couldn't do anything. Even the droids that were helping her, dude, they got massacred when they got executed. I was like, oh no. Those droids got fucked up, dude.
Yeah, they got destroyed, man. And it just, and the end, how somber it was, dude. And
dude, you can hear a fucking pin drop when I was watching it, because at that point everyone in my family came in to start watching it at that point, and everyone's just quiet, and you just hear I was like, oh fuck. And then he picks up the lightsaber that he gifted her, lights it up, and then he sees the troopers all there dead, which makes it even more sad because they had her face paint on. So it's just like, damn, dude.
Yeah. You think he remembers?
He definitely remembers. Because he just chooses to.
Because I've always, that's hardly, it's never been fully clear.
Oh, he remembers everything from Anakin. Yeah.
Okay.
He just killed that part of himself, where he's pretty much like, yeah, that guy was a fucking weakling, but he does remember everything about him.
Damn. The tragedy of Anakin.
Yeah. And it's good because I actually just saw the season 2 of Rebels finale recently, which is where they reunite, and it's just such a great way to see this finale of where he has her lightsaber, and then to jump to that, it's like, it's so fucking cool. You get to see it, you know?
Yeah. You haven't seen so at this point, you don't know where Sabine is at, right? In the show Rebels? Her story arc yet?
No, she's there. Where I'm at is just Thrawn came into play, but Sabine is part of it. I know there's more Mandalorian shit in her lore that comes up. I'm not there yet at the moment.
Oh, okay. Because I was wondering how this merges with that. Because I'm still iffy about the whole Mandalorian story.
Right.
Because you had this war, and then in Sabine's story you have more Mandalorian stuff. But then in the show Mandalorian, where are the Mandalorians? I never really understood that.
Right, I have no idea. I'll finish the Rebel show, and then we'll see what happens. But the way I see it is, this Mandalorian tribe from the show Mandalorian, it's a very extreme, secretive, like, society. That the reason why they don't do the whole take off your helmet is to show that, like, you're down for the cause and you're anonymous. So if you take it off and you gotta escape, no one knows who you are. So I think a lot of the culture of the Mandalorian tribe from the show is from the Disney Plus show is based off of that, of protecting themselves from the Empire. So I'm assuming the Empire eradicates them sometime after Rebels. So, but who knows?
Yeah, I've never gotten the full.
Because you got to know where the Darksaber went and everything. Because clearly the Darksaber didn't get into that guy's possession yet. So.
And he also talks about a battle.
Yeah.
And that's not the battle we saw. So
I don't think so, because he called it the Siege of 1,000 Tears, and I thought that was the Siege of Mandalore, which is the Siege of Mandalore was the one that we saw in Clone Wars.
So it's not that one then.
I don't think so.
So it has to happen after Rebels.
Maybe 1,000 Tears. Battle. Star Wars. I'm gonna do some Google right here and see.
Yeah.
The Night of 1,000 Tears was an eventful part of the Siege of Mandalore in 19 BBY. Oh, so it was that day. Yeah, this is the day. Oh, I got it. So this is where Echo dies. This is the first fight they had with all the Mandalorians in this year. Oh no, that's the year. Never mind. What they do is they break it up by year. So I don't know.
Okay, because then that he was already an Imperial officer.
Oh no,
So-
no, this was the end. Yes. So okay, so supposedly this final battle is the one we saw. The Night of 1,000 Tears. But it's funny, it's only called that in that episode of The Mandalorian. It's not mentioned like that anywhere else. So maybe they could retcon it later and say, "Oh, this is a specific battle." Because it says it's a part of the Siege of Mandalore. What we witnessed was the Siege of Mandalore in
So-
Clone Wars.
So it must happen sometime late. Then the War of Mandalore must have been longer then,
Maybe, yeah.
or it must have been going on for a few years then. Maybe his was probably a specific battle within that battle, the War of Mandalore. I don't know, dude.
Because yeah.
It's that whole thing has always been confusing for me.
Right. But I mean,
'Cause-
all it takes is for someone to retcon it and have it make sense, and that's it. There's so many things about Clone Wars we didn't get. We were like, what the fuck? What's with this clone thing in Order 66? That doesn't make sense. And then they were like, oh, they were brainwashing. You're like, oh, that makes so much sense now. You know, all it takes is someone to add it, and it works. But in this
Yeah.
case, nothing's been added, so we're confused.
It's so confusing, dude.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get that small piece next season in Mandalorian. But yeah, man. Overall, these final 4 episodes were so fucking good, man.
Yeah,
And-
and you know what? I'm okay. Someone said that it ended very soft and somber when they wanted it to be a big finale ending. I'm like, no, dude.
No, that's what I wanted.
Episode 3 is your finale. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is it.
And this is after episode 3. So how would it end
Exactly.
happy? This is tragedy. This is the
Exactly.
biggest tragedy in Star Wars. The Sith taking over the galaxy. Like, that's not happy.
Yeah.
You get your happiness at the end of 6, you know?
No, it was great, man. The whole thing was fucking flawless.
Yeah.
Those last 4 really, really, like, there was no better way to end it, honestly.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It was perfect. It was a
And like I
perfect,
said,
perfect show.
it ended with the core 3 characters, which was Rex, Ahsoka, and Maul. Without those main 3, we didn't need to know what happened with Obi-Wan and Anakin. You don't give a shit about that. You see that in the movies. We wanted
already
new,
know.
and this is what we got. We got new.
Yeah, man. I liked everything about it, man. There's not one
Definitely.
thing I didn't like. Any last thoughts?
No, I think we pretty much cleared it all up.
Perfect. Let us know what you guys think about the final 4 episodes or this final season in general. What did you think about it? Did you like it? Did you enjoy it? Did it give you nostalgia for Star Wars again? Let us know what you think about these final episodes, final season, and if you haven't seen it, you should definitely go around and watching it. And the series in general should be watched. It's very great.
In its correct order found on StarWars.com.
Yeah, because it was aired out of place, and everywhere is still out of place for some reason. Like, why can't you just give it to me? Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, hope you enjoyed it. Let us know your thoughts. Till next time.
Bye-bye.